Walk across land that has been farmed continuously for centuries, and you notice something modern fields often lack. The soil is dark, deep, and alive. It holds water during drought, drains during heavy rain, and produces crops without constant correction. This was not luck. Ancient farmers deliberately built soil as a long-term asset, not a seasonal medium. They understood that food security depended on what happened beneath the surface, and they designed systems meant to outlast their own lifetimes. This guide breaks down how they did it, why it worked, and how the same principles still apply today. Why ancient farmers treated soil as inheritance rather than expendable ground. For early agricultural societies, soil loss meant collapse. There were no external fertilizers to replace what erosion removed. If land degraded, communities starved or migrated. As a result, ancient farmers measured success in generations, not yields. This mindset shaped everything. Fields were positioned to resist erosion. Organic matter was never wasted. Livestock, crops, trees and people were integrated into closed systems where nutrients circulated instead of escaping. Modern agriculture often mines soil. Ancient agriculture invested in it. Constant organic return was really the foundation of lasting fertility. Every ancient system that endured, they all shared one trait. Organic material was returned to the land continuously. Crop residues stayed right there on the fields. Weeds were cut and simply laid down. Kitchen waste, ash, manure, and even human waste in some cultures were composted or aged before application. This steady input, it fed soil organisms all year round. Instead of those sudden nutrient spikes, plants received slow, balanced nourishment. And over time, this built humus, the stable carbon-rich fraction of soil that persists for decades. So, to apply this today, just stop removing biomass. Leave roots in place after harvest. Mulch beds with plant matter from your own land. Compost should supplement soil, not replace its natural cycles. For centuries, low-disturbance practices have preserved soil structure, Ancient farmers, they worked the soil only as much as necessary. In many cultures, shallow tools gradually replaced deep ploughing. Some systems, interestingly enough, relied almost entirely on surface cultivation. The main goal was to open the soil for planting, but without destroying its internal architecture. This approach preserved fungal networks, soil aggregates, and those vital pore spaces that allow water and air to move freely. Once these structures are destroyed, they can take years to rebuild. A modern gardener can, in fact, apply this by reducing tillage using broad forks instead of rototillers and planting through mulch rather than bare ground. Each season of restraint really compounds the benefits over time. Mixed cropping, was absolutely vital in preventing exhaustion and failure of the land. Monoculture, that was quite rare in traditional farming. Instead, fields often contained grains, legumes, root crops and support plants, all growing together or rotating through predictable patterns. Legumes, in particular, restored nitrogen to the soil. Deep-rooted plants would lift minerals from deep below, and ground covers, they protected the soil from the harsh sun and pounding rain. Now, this diversity, it fed different soil organisms and prevented those troublesome nutrient bottlenecks. It also reduced pest outbreaks, which tend to flourish in, more simplified systems. So, applying this principle today means planting for function, not just the harvest. You want to pair heavy feeders with soil builders, rotate plant families, and even allow volunteer plants to participate, as long as they're not causing any harm. Now, you see, livestock were valued not just as sources of food, but as essential soil builders. Animals, really, were central to ancient soil management. Grazing animals would convert inedible plants into rich manure, improving the land. Poultry, on the other hand, cleaned fields after harvest, tidying up and adding fertility. Even draft animals played their part, contributing through their waste and by mixing the soil as they worked. Importantly, animals were moved frequently, and, overgrazing was carefully avoided, since it could destroy future fertility. Manure, too, was often composted or aged, to prevent nutrient loss and disease. Today, small-scale growers can, in fact, replicate these age-old practices, perhaps by rotating chickens, using controlled grazing, or simply by composting manure thoroughly before applying it. The key, really, is all about timing and restraint. Water management, played a crucial role in protecting soil from erosion and depletion. Ancient terraces, swales, raised beds and canals were all cleverly designed to slow water rather than simply expel it. Rain was always treated as a valuable resource to be absorbed, not just drained away. By controlling water flow, farmers were able to prevent soil loss while, at the same time, increasing infiltration. This meant that nutrients stayed exactly where they were needed. Microbial life, too, really thrived in those stable moisture conditions. These days, the application can be as simple as contour beds, mulch pathways, and, just avoiding bare slopes altogether. Water should enter the soil gently and leave ever so slowly. Time really was the most powerful ingredient they used. Ancient farmers, they didn't expect instant results. Soil improvement was, incremental. Fields improved year after year as organic matter accumulated and biological systems matured. This patience, you see, created resilience. Drought years hurt less. Floods recovered faster. Crops became more consistent, instead of, being dependent on correction. The hardest lesson for modern growers is accepting that soil cannot be rushed. Every season of proper care builds the next. Why these systems fed people for centuries without collapse? Ancient soil building worked because it aligned with natural processes instead of fighting them. Nutrients cycled locally. Biology replaced chemistry. Diversity replaced dependence. When societies abandoned these principles, erosion and famine followed. History is clear on this point. If you want land that feeds not just you, but those who come after, these methods are not optional. They are proven. If this kind of deep, time-tested knowledge matters to you, subscribe to Botanical Bliss and share this guide with others who believe soil is something we protect, not exploit.